Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today with Last Supper Series Presents. This is a special edition. Today or this month, we're actually focusing on mental health awareness. And I wanted to make sure that we brought some people in that could speak to mental health awareness. And I am so happy today to have licensed professional counselor Sharli Berry. She's in the Phoenix area, and I'm like, she's amazing, y'all. Y'all have no idea. Anyway, just to give you a little bit about her, she's a compassionate therapist whose main purpose is to help her clients discover or rediscover their purpose. Y'all just wait. I can't wait. So she understands that each story is unique and individualized, and she individualizes each session to meet the needs of her clients. She's experienced professional counselor who has helped previous clients overcome things like depression, anxiety, trauma, grief, and many other challenges. I feel like I have all of them. Just kidding. But she has experience working with teens, adults, and couples on a variety of issues. And what I actually love about her is that she wants to help people be restored and restore the balance needed to regain, and enjoy life to the fullest and get back on the road to reaching their dreams. So without further ado, I like to present Charlotte Berry, licensed professional counselor. Hey, ma'am. You can go.
Hey
Yes.
everybody. Sorry, I was muted still.
No problem. I'm so glad that you've taken the time out to meet with us and talk to our viewers today. We're used to going live, but I felt like and we talk just more
Yeah.
intimate, be able to speak to mental health awareness because it's very important, and just get your opinion on some things. So you ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it. Mental health is my jam, so I'm always ready to talk about it.
That's great. And then, I shared, yes, this is the Last Supper series presents, but a huge part of it is about the Last Supper series presents is that we never want people to go to their graves without giving their testimony or being able to share their wealth of knowledge. And we are the killers of silence. So I thank you so much
Mm.
for being with us today. So I know I shared a little bit about you and your work. Can you just share, hey, what your background is as far as like what led you into counseling?
What led me into counseling? I didn't even, when I was younger, I didn't even know it was a thing because in our neighborhoods, we don't see counselors, we don't, seek help, we don't do anything. So, but I was always that one that, even as a kid, people would talk to. So as I got older and I got to be an adult, someone said, "Hey, you should be a counselor," and I was like, "Oh, that's really a thing. I should probably look into that." But I had never really heard of any Black or African American counselors,
Wow.
and I really wanted us to have somebody that looks like us to be able to talk to. And don't get me wrong, I work with everybody, every race, everything. Um, but my passion was us. So I got into it. I went to school, and a couple years later, not a couple, it was hard work getting there. I was almost gave up a couple times. I was like, God, is this it? Because I don't know.
Oh,
Um, I don't know. You sure? But I'm here. I have Destiny's Door Counseling Services, which is my private practice. I have two wonderful therapists that work for me full time. I have one that's part time, um, and we're over there helping people. That's my passion. That's my love is mental health, and I know that this is what God has called me to do,
mhm.
and I 100% love it. Love it, love it, love it.
That's amazing.
It's it's exhausting at times, but I still love it.
And just to be able to give back, I'm sure, is rewarding
Yes.
in itself. You mentioned in your earlier years, like people would come to you, but it wasn't necessarily something that's talked about, especially in the Black community. Can
Hmm.
you kind of give us more on that as far as, now, things are slowly changing. Um,
Right.
what are your thoughts on just mental health awareness in the Black community and things that we can even do to continue to promote it?
Well, we need to understand that it's not a bad thing. right? So in the Black community, we're typically told, don't talk to the man. What goes on in this house stays in this house. It's, if you're depressed, oh, you'll get over it. You don't have anything to be depressed about. One of the things we used to hear as a kid, there's kids in Africa starving to death, and you're over here, so it's always just kind of brushed under the rug when we're not recognizing that there really is a problem here. There really is an issue that needs to be addressed. So in our communities, we're told to be quiet, especially our men. Our
Mm,
men are shut down all the time. They can't display any fear. They can't display any sadness. They can't display any disappointment. They can display anger all day because that means they're tough, right?
yeah.
If they punch somebody in the face, then that means they're tough. But if they say I'm afraid, oh my God, they're sissies, they're punks, they're all kind of, you know, derogatory names, and all they're doing is talking about what they're feeling
Yeah.
and how they're feeling. But we're constantly in our community, it's constantly shut down, and it's survival of the fittest. So we kind of understand that at times that we have to be tough, we have to be strong, stronger than the next person because of our circumstances, because of our situation. But
Mm,
it doesn't mean that we have to go through this alone. But we were always told, hey, you can handle this. You don't have to cry about this or stop crying. And in actuality, we don't have that ability to do that. We don't know how to work through these things on our own, so we're constantly suppressing. So when you hear that term, the angry black woman, what does that really mean? What
ooh,
does that really mean? Are we angry or are we hurt?
mm,
Are we angry or are we afraid? So but it comes out in anger.
yeah.
We're afraid that something's not going to work out right. We're disappointed. We're hurt. We're regretful. We're actually, there's a lot of shame there too. But it's so much easier to be angry. So that's where you get a lot of that. We always got an attitude, and you're always loud. We're hurting, and we're told that we can't say that we're hurt. We're told that we can't say that we're afraid. So what do? We get angry and we get loud.
Mm,
So in order for us as a community to be able to heal, we have to encourage each other to get help. And you'll hear people say a lot of times, "Oh, you need therapy." Most likely it's true, but they use it as an insult.
they do.
It's an insult. Like, you go see somebody, and I'm like, "What you do? You need to go see someone." But they try to use it as a dig.
Yeah.
And I have several clients that I have to go into the session saying, hey, I won't talk to anybody about you being here. If I see you on the street, I don't know you, which is true. I will not acknowledge you on the street. We're in a grocery store. I won't even look your direction. You'll think I've lost my mind. Like, I know she saw me. No, that it's a confidentiality thing,
Yeah.
and it's to protect you. So, and a lot of them are concerned that people in their families will know that they're in therapy.
Wow.
And that's really sad that you can't tell your family and your friends, hey, I went to go get help because I couldn't do this on my own, because
It,
it's a sign of weakness.
but it really, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. It really isn't a sign of
It
weakness.
isn't.
I would look at it as a sign of strength, is to be able to say, I can't do this on my own. So
Mhm.
I kind of want to get into, hey, what are the first steps? But before we do that, what would you recommend, like people that are considered their community or their safe place? How do we encourage that person either to, if they say, hey, I think I need to get counseling, or to
Mhm.
where we're not, maybe they actually do and we're not making a jab at them.
Mhm.
How can we help those that may need to get counseling?
Be supportive. Have somebody in mind, maybe. Give them a referral. Don't just say, hey, go get some help, and not have any information for them, right? So if you know somebody who's been in therapy, or you know of a therapist, say, hey, talk to this person. They might be able to help you out. If you don't want to talk to that person, giving them understanding that everything is confidential. I think that's one of the main concerns, is people don't think that their information is confidential,
Okay.
right? So I'm not losing my license for anybody. So
What do
plus
you
I love what I
for?
do.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I worked too hard to get here. Plus, I love what I do, and I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
Right. I want to help. So, in order to be able to help people, I have to make sure that they're confident in the fact that what goes on, it's a Vegas rule in my office. What goes on in this office stays in this office. With some exceptions, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to hurt somebody else, that type of thing. But
Right.
I explain that all up front. Like, these are the only reasons why I would talk to somebody outside of this office about you. So, under, giving them the understanding that they're not going to talk to anybody about your business, you can open up to them. So tell them, look, if you need me to be on the phone with you when you make that first phone call, if you need me to go and wait in the lobby with you, for your first session, I'm going to do that. I will hold your hand through this whole process, but I really want you to get some help.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend texted me yesterday. It was like, hey, I need some help. I have somebody who's suicidal right now, and they knew to call me. They knew to text me because they know I had the information. I'm not going to go out there and handle the situation, but I know how to get them the resources. And I said, hey, here, this is what you do. And they texted me later and said, I have a new respect for what you do because I don't know how you do this every day. And I'm not only a therapist, I have a private practice, but I'm also a clinical supervisor at a 24-hour crisis call center. So when people call in, they're feeling suicidal, or they want to hurt somebody else. They're feeling homicidal, or they're having a panic attack, or they're super depressed. We talk to them. We walk them through, coping skills. We send teams out to talk to them in person if we can't handle it over the phone. So understanding that there's help out there, there are resources for you, and if you have that friend that needs help, and getting the resources and being available to say, hey, I got somebody that can help you. This isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
This isn't my strong suit, but I got somebody that can help you.
That can, yeah. That, I think that that's amazing. That your friend even, hey, let me reach out. Or even the suggestion to say, hey, I'll be more than happy to be on the phone with you to
Hmm.
be able to, let's do that initial step together. I can't go all the way with, all the way,
Right, exactly.
that initial step. So speaking of the initial step, what are some best practices with trying to find the right therapist counselor for you? Like, is it just, a lot of people, I realize, and I'll speak for myself as well, i I honestly didn't know. Like, I was like, I don't know. Or you find you're iffy because it's like, how do I just sit up here and pick
Right.
out of 1,000 therapists from A to Z and making sure that they're in my insurance realm, or
Hmm.
if you have insurance, whatever that looks like. I literally was like, here, mom, can you just go ahead and do this here? And she found the person. But how do you find the right therapist counselor for you?
It's the same thing. So if you have insurance, you definitely want to stay in network unless you can pay out of pocket, which I have some clients that do that. Um, so you want to narrow that down first if you're using insurance.
Okay.
Find that pocket or that group of therapists that's in your network, and then you're going to start looking for that specific niche. So you look for a specialist if you have issue with your eyes or your ears, or you're looking for somebody who specializes in that area. You're not going to go to your PCP because you have issues with your eyes, right? So you're going to find somebody who's specializing in the issue that you're having.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you're going to look for. If your main issue is anxiety, if your main issue is depression, you have PTSD, then you're not going to go to a marriage and family therapist for PTSD.
Fair.
So you're going to find somebody that has what you're looking for. So anytime a client contacts me, I ask, what is your main concern? Because everything is not my specialty, right? So substance abuse, I can work with substance abuse, but that's not my specialty. So if it's substance abuse, you know what? That's not my specialty. Let me refer you to somebody who can definitely help you in that area a lot better than I can. So you want a therapist is going to be honest. They're not just grabbing clients out of the air. I don't see every client that contacts me.
Mm.
I don't, because I know I can't help them to the best of their ability. I can try with everybody, but if I know that's not my thing, I'm gonna refer you out. So find a therapist that's going to be honest. When you get that first interview, have you have you worked with somebody that has this issue before? You can ask questions.
Yeah.
You don't have to be shy about asking questions because this is therapy. These are your sessions. So you want to get the most out of it that you can. So
Okay.
like somebody who's what call SMI or seriously mentally ill, not my thing. So I'm going to refer you out because I know that's not my specialty. So
Okay.
certain things I love working with, certain things I can work with, but it's not my, I'm not a fan of working with it. So talk to the therapist, ask the questions. Have you worked with this type of issue before? Have you what you have experience in this area? I don't mind if people ask me questions because I know it's like you're shopping, you're trying to find the best fit.
You know
So it's
what?
like
It's like
and
a pair of shoes, or I'll say shoes for the ladies. Not
hmm
everybody like that. Or like your for dudes, I guess maybe Jordans. I don't know. But
yeah.
whatever they necessarily look for. So what I'm hearing is like, okay, first, if you want to say network, narrow it down there. Then
hmm
once you narrow it down, like if you know this is the type of specialist that I need, to go
hmm
ahead and reach out to them first, like narrow the list down, and then ask questions about of that
Right.
therapist to make sure that you're comfortable if they're right. And what I love about you, and we talked early previously, is the fact that it's like, hey, that's not my specialty. Even though I like to help you, here, let me refer you to someone
hmm
that has that would be able to effectively assist.
Right. My goal is to get you the best help possible, whether that's me or whether that's the next therapist. I don't care who you go to see as long as you're getting the help that you need
Yeah.
because that's my passion. So I'm not hoarding clients. I'm just this person is going to be able to help you better than I can.
Yeah.
There's another therapist that I know that she specializes in infidelity, in the affair, how do you get past the affair? That's not my thing. So I'm like, hey, you need to go talk to her. That's 100% her corner. I can work with you, but that's 100% her corner. So I'm gonna send you over there, right? And
Wow.
so that's like kids. People come to me for their kids all the time. When I went into therapy, my first thing was I'm gonna work with the babies. I'm gonna work with the kids. I love the babies. Woo! And
Oh,
then I started working with the babies, and I was like, okay, Jesus, that's not my thing. No, okay. So I still want to help people, but
right.
it's not the littles. Like I can't do the littles.
You know your strengths. Hey,
Yes,
this is where I'm skilled to do. This is where I'm not.
yes.
Well, not
And
where my preference.
right,
Right.
right.
So
I
with
can do it, but it's just not necessarily my thing.
mm,
Yeah,
no, I think teachers are like that too. It's like I could teach toddlers, but I prefer
right.
high schoolers or vice versa. So I
Exactly.
think that's great. Now, some people may have the question because we also have coaches, right? So with
hmm
coaches, you also see where they meet maybe they have like a specialty in like I've
hmm
worked with one that's focusing like on career goals or stuff like that. Can you
Yeah.
kind of give us the difference between a therapist and a coach, and then hey, who do I see for what? Because I think that
Okay.
that can be kind of confusing.
Okay. So you're speaking about a life coach.
Yeah.
So they have the life coaches, and there's a lot of us with different names out here. So you have the life coaches, you have the licensed professional counselors like myself,
Hmm.
you have the social workers, you have the psychologist, and you have a psychiatrist. So people kind of lump us all up into one, and we're not the same. So I'll start with the psychiatrist. Psychiatrists actually can prescribe medication. They have actually gone to medical school
Okay.
and they prescribe medication. The rest of us cannot.
Got
Now
it.
I can help manage medication, but I cannot prescribe medication.
Okay.
So a psychiatrist, their main goal is going to be, okay, here's the medication you need to be on. And they can do sessions. They can, they have private practices and they do sessions, but a lot of their focus is medication management. A psychologist is going to do more assessments.
Okay.
So if you need an ADHD assessment, autism spectrum assessment, things like that, that's more their speed. Then you have the licensed professional counselor, social worker, MFT, which is marriage and family therapist. We all have the same, depending on their training. So
Okay.
we all have private practices. We can work with individuals, we can work with groups, things like that, substance abuse counselors. Um, so we do more of the work individually, trying to get people to work through their trauma. So here's the difference between the life coach and the counselor or the therapist. The life coach usually has a niche, and it's usually, like I said, job, career. They're Think about it as a coach. They're motivating you. They're helping you set goals. Things like that. They're really encouraging you. They're on that sideline saying, "Hey, you got this. Hey, you got this." Whereas, or if you're not motivated, they're gonna help you get motivated. Whereas a therapist like myself is going to dig a little deeper and say, why aren't you motivated?
Mm,
Right. So
okay.
we're going to start digging a little bit. We're going to get into the root of how long have you not been motivated? How long has this been happening? Okay. 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years. So you've been like this for 5 years. 5 years is a long time. So what happened 5 years ago?
Wow.
So that's more of what a therapist is going to do. We do coaching too. Like I have some clients that I'm 100%. It's all coaching. I don't like this job. What do I do? Okay, let me help you out with that. So we do that too.
Right.
So what a life coach would do is if they get into, or it could be a domestic, somebody who's helping somebody get through domestic violence, not working on the trauma, but the after effects of it, right? And they say, okay, they have some trauma related to this domestic violence. Let me refer you to the therapist who can help you work through that trauma. So
Okay.
we're now talking about the therapist gets down to the root, right? We get to the
Got
root
it.
cause.
Okay. So, because I'm that person, I'm like, hey, let me go in order. So,
Hmm.
to kind of cap recap, the psychiatrist is going to be the one, like, they can go through the diagnosis, but they're the ones that, or the only ones actually, that can actually prescribe the medicine.
Hmm.
Okay. Psychologists are more so for diagnosing, right?
Assessment,
Assessment,
because
right.
we can, yeah, everybody can diagnose. All of us can diagnose. The
Okay.
psychologists do the assessments.
Okay.
Like,
That's their
yeah.
specialty, right?
Hmm.
Okay. And then from kind of back and going on the other opposite end, as far
Hmm.
as the life coaches, they have a particular niche, and it's, for instance, maybe motivating you or
Hmm.
getting you to reach a certain goal. And then
Right.
the therapist takes it a step further. And don't we just love this question? Why? Well, why?
Yes.
Why, why,
Yeah,
why, why?
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Yes.
And the one where that I really grasped onto is the root.
Hmm.
Because there are so many times where, oh, this person just, we talked earlier about the angry black man or angry
Hmm.
black woman, and this, different cultures. I know for you and your practice is not solely based on the black community, but that is a concern that, sometimes
Hmm.
in the black community we don't seek the help that we need. Um,
Right.
but with that, it could be, well, why? There's much more than, hey, this is just who I am, but why are
Right.
you the way that you are, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Exactly. Because people accept that because that's all they know.
Mhm.
So what I do in my sessions is I really kind of normalize it, because a lot of people come in to me and they'll say, I'm broken, something's wrong with me, I'm crazy. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, you're doing what you've learned to do. This is what you've been taught. What did you Who did you see do that in your past?
Mhm.
Well, my mom did this or my dad did this. Okay, so that's why you're behaving, that's why you're responding, that's why you are in the type of relationships that you are in, because you're doing what you have learned. In therapy, we get to the root of that. Now we know why. Now let's tweak it a little bit. So let's make it a healthy pattern, right?
Right. Wow. Okay. That's fine. Ooh. So okay. So I'm kind of going like through the steps that someone would take. Hey, all right,
Hmm.
narrowed it down. I get in. We can say, I hate to say that depression is a hot topic, but I mean it is.
It's a lot. It's a lot of people are depressed.
Right. So I get in, and and I know you can only speak to the way that you treat. Uh,
Hmm.
do you call them patients? I don't know what
I
you
call them clients.
clients. Yeah, see,
Hmm.
that's why I ask questions because I'm not a professional. So with with clients, how does that initial interaction kind of go?
Yeah, with me, I'm a bit of a different type of therapist, so
Okay.
I'm just-
What does that
I'm not
mean,
your average.
Sharli?
I always ask people, have you been in therapy before? And if their answer is no, I'm like, okay, whew, okay, so then I'm gonna be your first experience, so you don't have to a lot of unlearning to do about what to expect
Mhm.
in therapy. I'm not Dr. Phil. I'm not a Yanla. She's life coach. She's not
Yeah,
therapist, by the
she's
way. Um,
not.
but people think she's a therapist, but I'll be trying to tell people. Anyway, different story. So if you have been in therapy before, then you're gonna realize very quickly that I'm not your other therapist. So I kind of tell people that up front. Like when you come in the door, I might have on a t-shirt and some chucks. I might have two big afro puffs. My hair might be straight. I might have on a dress and so, like it depends on my mood that day. Because I've had people come in and they're dressed up and they're like, "Oh, I thought I had to dress up." Like, no, you you don't have to dress up. I'm not dressing up unless I feel like it that day.
Yeah.
But my goal is to be comfortable so that you can be comfortable. If I'm tugging and pulling and doing all this all day, then I'm not going to be focused on you. So I'm going to be comfortable. When you come in the door, I want you to be comfortable. Okay, so I said all that to say, I'll be getting off. Um,
Fine.
so I do.
People honestly, that makes people feel comfortable, and I don't have a problem saying that I've gone to counselors, but and well, therapists, and literally the first time I meet them, I'm like,
Hmm.
they're probably judging me and how I'm looking, so let me go ahead and present myself a certain
Hmm.
way so you don't have this perception of me. And then after a
Yeah,
while, depending on the relationship that you have, or if it counts for me, if I
yeah.
feel comfortable with, like, listen, this is how I feel today. I'm in some chucks, jeans, and
Hmm.
t-shirt, or sweatpants and a t-shirt, and let's have a conversation.
Right. And that's just how I am. And I'm 100% authentically me. So if
Yeah.
you see me outside of the office and you see me in the office, my accent I'm from Midwest, I'm from East St. Louis, East Boogie all day. So I might I might not say here, I might say her. I might not say here, I might say here. Oh, you got it. Oh, how did you got her okay? So that's just that's just me.
You're you.
I'm 100% me, and that's the only way to be because I'm not good at being anybody else. Tried that back in the day, and it didn't work. So I realized that being Sharli is the best person I can be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you that up front. I'm going to have this conversation with you, and I'm going to let you know. Look, this is how I operate. If you've been in therapy before, I'm not the last therapist you had. I'm gonna call you out on your stuff. If you being petty, I have been known to call clients petty. It just if it fits, I'm going to be like, hey, I think you being a little petty right there. Everybody, that's not everybody's cup of tea. So everybody,
Yeah. Okay.
but I will tell you that up front. I'm going to tell you on that very first meeting, this is who I am.
Mhm.
This is how I do therapy. We're gonna work, and I don't want you in therapy for 5 and 10 years. I want you see that years came out instead of years. Um, I don't want you in therapy for 5 and 10 years. I want you to get as healthy as quickly as possible, so you don't have to keep coming to see me. Like, because it's not about me making money or anything like that. It's about you getting healthy so you can get back out here to your family, your friends, and doing whatever you need to do and have a better quality of life. So if that means I'm going to push your buttons, which I will, then it's that's poking the bear. I dig up some stuff. I do digging. Exactly. I will poke. I'll take notes. I'm like, oh, that's a trigger. Okay, let me go ahead and write that down for later because we're gonna address that.
Wow.
So that's pretty much my intro. I do tell people too. I'm like, look, I have some ADD features. So look, if we get off topic, understand that's me. So I'm giving you 100% who I am up front.
Wow.
So you don't have any questions. So if something happens later on down the line, I'll even tell you at some point you're not gonna like me, and it's because I'm pushing your buttons. It's because I'm digging. I'm asking those hard questions. And when you get to that place where you're upset with me or you don't want to come back to the session, it's not gonna bother me because I'm already know what's coming because I'm pushing buttons on purpose. That means we're getting some work done.
Wow.
So that's kind of my that's that's kind of my intro. I do that type of intro, so you get 100% authentically me that very first session, and then I'll ask at the end of the session, so you want to come back? Because if you don't, it's okay. It's
Oh,
perfectly okay. I will
take
100%
care.
refer you to somebody else because it's not about me. It's about you getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's how my first session goes. That's how my first session usually
But,
goes.
but you know what? I feel like it's kind of like, I think about like dating, right?
Mhm.
So you're giving us, hey, your clients, up, this is me up front. This is all of me.
Mhm.
Total transparency, and
Right.
either take it or leave it. So it's not necessarily me putting on for you.
Right.
Because I mean, if that's something that we've been used to, that a client's been used to all
Mhm.
the time, and they're not used to being, they don't even know who they really are.
Right.
That's not helping at the end of the day.
Right.
So I love the fact that, listen, I'm not wasting your money. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste
Mhm.
my time either. This is what it is. Do you want to continue? So that's awesome. So let's say, oof, you get cut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's say the person continues, right? And you
Mhm.
mentioned you poke the bear. Are
Mhm.
there times where it's like, okay, I'll poke the bear and we'll pause, or
Yep.
like, what does that look like?
It does. I'm very cognizant of um, people getting tired and people getting exhausted because I get exhausted mentally. So I pay attention, and I do say that too. I'll say, hey, you know what? You've been working really hard. You know, we're gonna take a break, and I want you to still come here, but we're not going to work. We're not going to work on that trauma next week.
Okay.
We're going to get your mind back so you can kind of get a breather, and then we'll get back to it. And also, if we're working on it and they tell me I can't do this right now, that's perfectly okay because it's your session. We're not going to just not ever do it. But if you need that break, but that's part of me making people comfortable enough to understand that this is their session. It's not my session. This is them getting the help. It's not about me.
Yeah.
So if you need that break, all my clients are comfortable enough to say, hey, I need a break. I can't work on this right now. I'm like, thank you for telling me. Let's work on something else. Let's do something else for this session.
Okay.
And
But
that
you also
works.
said we're gonna come back to it though. That's
We're
what.
gonna come back to it. We're gonna come back to it. Now you're not getting all the way out of it because you want to get better. You want to get healthier,
Yeah.
and you realize you haven't been able to do it on your own. That's why I'm here. But if you need a break, you get a break.
Okay. Well, that's good. We get little timeouts. That's good.
Hmm.
All right. So while we're going through this journey, like some people have like this misconception of, or I won't say misconception because it may not be, I think it is, that, I'm going to have to stay in therapy forever. And you mentioned like, hey, I want to get you healthy as soon as possible, not like rushing, but assuming
Hmm.
like, hey, in a healthy manner, get you to where you need to go. So what does
Right.
that kind of look like? How do you push them along and determine, okay, you don't have to come every week, or I know it
So
varies.
we come up with a treatment plan. It takes about 2 or 3 sessions to come up with a treatment plan. Insurance companies want a diagnosis on the first day, or they won't pay. It's insurance companies. Um, but we come up with the treatment plan. So we can say, okay, this is what you said you wanted to work on, and everybody has an intake form that they have to complete when they come in. So I know exactly what your issues are coming in the door.
Okay.
So then we do this treatment plan, and these are your goals. So then, a couple months down the line, we go back over the treatment plan, and we're saying, okay, you said this is what you wanted to work on. Where do you feel like you are in this process?
Mm,
How far do you think? And a lot of times, what I do is I go back and read what they wrote to the very beginning session, or the information I took down. I'm like, remember you said this? They're like, oh man, I said that. Yeah, that's not. I can't believe that. I can't believe that's how bad off I was. So now gauging, their progress. So we're always gauging the progress. We're always seeing, okay, well, you were here. Now you're here. How do you feel about that? So
wow.
we start off weekly, and then once that progress, we're seeing a lot of big progress, and they're not as dependent on therapy. Then we go biweekly, and then we go monthly, and then we go maintenance.
Okay, talk to me about maintenance. What is that?
Maintenance is when um, you've pretty much kind of worked through a lot of your stuff. You're feeling good. You're not having panic attacks, or um, you're not having this roller coaster of emotions, ups and downs. You have a really good balance. You're really leveled, without having to come and talk to me about it, right? So you can you're maintaining that emotional balance. Everything, you're sleeping well, you're eating well. Um, your trauma, that you're able to really think about that trauma, that traumatic situation, and not have an emotional reaction to it. You understand, as part of your story, is not your story. It does not define you, right? So we're getting to that place, and when you're there, then we go to maintenance. And then if you have a situation that comes up that gets to be overwhelming, something like that. Like, I had two clients that came back because of COVID. One had been gone probably about 6 or 7 months, was on maintenance, and the other one probably about 8 months. And they emailed me, was like, "Hey, I need a session." And one of them, I did 2 sessions. They were good, and they're back on maintenance. So sometimes that big stuff happens in life. You feel like you can't handle it on your own. You come back, have a couple refreshers, and then you go back to what you were doing.
I absolutely love that because I think sometimes we have this mindset like, I'm going to be doing this forever. And
Mm,
I don't, we get that I don't have the time to do it, but it really is. I love how you're very mindful of the client's progress, and you even share that with the client to where it's like, hey, oh, you're right. I have done, like there's
yeah.
celebration of the success that they've made. And then I also love the fact that, hey, I'm not going to keep you in here to just continue down this road.
Hmm.
Like, go be free. You don't
Right.
graduate from this, but if something were to come up, I'm still here. We go back to what we need to maintenance and go ahead, go about your business. It's kind
Right.
of um, like a PCP. Like, I
Exactly.
need a check in twice, physical annual. Is it? Yeah, annual
Hmm.
stuff like that. I think that that's awesome. So, and I know you guys, I'm sure you want, I'm going to give all of her information. Just hold your seats. But I kind of wanted to now kind of talk about the different approaches that you take into working through whether it be trauma, depression. I know mentioning, and I may have it wrong, I am not licensed in any way. But maybe a licensed shopper, that's what I should be. Or a licensed talker. But EMDR, you mentioned that that's a style.
Hmm.
Did I get that right? Okay. Can you
Yeah,
share?
you did. So EMDR is eye movements desensitization and reprocessing. So it's a method that was developed specifically for people with PTSD.
Okay.
But what they discovered later is that it works for a lot of other different mental health issues, anxiety, depression, things like that. So there's different ways to do it, but the eye movement is the most effective way. So you'll see me do this a lot when I'm talking about EMDR because it's the eye movement. It's following the fingers with your eyes.
I'm legit
So
follower. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, but what happens is the side to side stimulation. It starts your brain to reprocessing a memory.
Mm.
And so it could be, we don't only use the fingers because my arm gets tired. So I'd be like, okay. I even had a client stop me one time and was like, "Is your arm tired?" I'm like, "Focus on my fingers. Stop worried about my arm." So I don't know if my arm had dropped or something. I was
Yeah.
started here and then gotten down here, But I was like, okay. So I use a light bar, which you kind of just follow the light, or there's what we call tappers or buzzies you can hold in your hand, and it kind of buzzes each hand from side to side, but it's still the bilateral stimulation. I can tap your knees, but it's the side to side stimulation. It's the science that starts your brain to reprocessing a particular memory. So what it does is it takes a traumatic memory, it reprocesses the very worst part of that memory, the part that is really causing you the distress, and it desensitizes it. So if that memory, say a car accident, and I say on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being neutral, which means no disturbance emotionally whatsoever, and 10 being the most disturbing it can be, and you tell me a 10, our goal is to get you down to 0. So you can, and it works. It actually, it's a wonderful thing. I love EMDR. So you can actually go back and say every time you thought about that memory, you start hyperventilating, you have physical sensations in your body, you had negative thoughts about yourself, you had a lot of fear and emotion behind it. When we get done reprocessing that memory, you won't have any of that reaction. You'll be able to talk about that memory to everybody and understand it's part of your story, but you won't have any emotional reaction. You won't have a physical reaction. You won't have any negative thoughts about yourself to that memory.
Now, that sounds like some voodoo. That ain't some church. That ain't Jesus. That's what some of the holy rollers. That ain't Jesus. That's not voodoo. Come on, break it down for us. I know it works.
Well, I mean,
I've had it. I've used it. A therapist used it on me, and so I know that it works. But I gotta be extra. So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk about that.
Well, I mean, there's so oxycodone ain't Jesus either, but you take that for your pain, right? So I mean, you can we could say a lot of stuff ain't Jesus,
Oh, you right.
but if he gave it to us to use as a method of healing, then what's the problem?
I'm not
Because
shocked by this. I'm totally, I'm buying it.
I'm I'm just saying you go to the store, you get Oxy, you get Perks, you get even Excedrin, whatever the case may be. I
Uh-huh.
didn't see Jesus wasn't handing out Tylenol and stuff, but
He
but he
put
also gave us the knowledge,
right.
right? So
The
if you're
physicians, the experts in that area, to where, and I say that because I know, even I have awesome parents, gotta shout them out. So it was never it wasn't like a stigma in my family to where like you don't
mhm,
get it, but you're always cautious of it. And
right,
for those that are Christians, white, black, Asian,
right,
whatever, Hispanic, sometimes it's like, well, Jesus is my healer.
mhm,
And when I say it like that, I don't mean to be to
right. I
come
get it, but yes,
off.
I
He also
understand.
puts professionals on this
Right,
earth to help us when, hey, it may, with that healing, while I'm trusting in God, I'm
mhm,
also putting action into it as well. So,
right.
uh,
You're not gonna break your leg and then just like, all right, and you're not gonna go get a cast put on it. You're not gonna. So
this is the no chaser, Sharli,
I'm
Therapist
just.
Sharli. Okay.
It's the same thing. It's just mental, and I think the difference is because you can't see. Typically, you can't see. Like you can see somebody who has been diagnosed with schizophrenia because you see them kind of walking down the street talking to themselves, and you be like, ooh, But you most of the time you can't see somebody who's battling depression because they're really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
Unless they're really open and telling you like this is what I'm dealing with, they're good outside in the open and they have a good conversation with you and hey girl, ha, 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 and do all this fun stuff, and then they get behind closed doors and they're a totally different person. They curl up in their bed and they turn all the lights off and they don't answer their phone.
Yeah.
So just because you don't see it, you can't see the wind either, but you know it exists, right?
I mean, this is true.
So
Okay. Making valid points. I can't argue. It's like, let me go ahead and put my shades on. Okay.
and so you can't always see you can't always see physical illnesses, but you can't always see mental illnesses.
That's fair.
So just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and doesn't mean that there isn't a fix for it.
I like it. I like it. I know this has been like so good. I know that you are a busy professional, so I don't know if you have time for one or two more questions.
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay.
Hmm.
So I would like to be personal with the audience as well. So there are also those people, because you kind of mentioned like sometimes you have to undo some of the things that have been put into clients' minds.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I told you this briefly. Like I had an incident. I was sexually assaulted, well, raped. I ain't got time for all that. Um, I was raped in college, and I went to see a counselor. And for a while, like what I did as a band-aid was, so I felt that I was always in control. I would just go ahead and have sex, so I wouldn't get to that point where I felt that I may be raped again.
Right,
So
because you're in control.
right, so
Hmm.
control. So long story short, like I went and I finally told her, and she's like, oh, well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And if this is what's helping pull you through, it's okay. And I was like, the Jesus in me, like knowing Michael and Mary, Eminem, I affectionately call them. Like, if I had said that to my parents, they'd have been like, but in me, like, I was like, whether Jesus, no Jesus, whatever, um that's just not an option. So how
My whole poker face ain't working right now,
it
but
ain't, I see it all on your face. So
whew,
can you talk can you talk to some of the people that may have experienced those had a bad experience with a therapist, and one, are there signs or anything that we can do, and then how do we get back to a trusting
it's
part?
the same thing. If you have a bad experience at with a regular doctor, bad bedside, you like, man, bad bedside manner, you know, or you have a bad experience customer service at a restaurant. Are you going to not go back to a restaurant ever? Or you
Um,
just not gonna see all doctors because you had a bad experience with that one? You still need the help.
you're so logical.
So don't don't lump us all into one category. Just like you don't like being lumped into a category. Because being a Christian, Christians have a bad rep right now. Like we getting dogged. Like
These are facts.
every every time I turn around, I'm like Christians this and y'all brainwashed. I'm like, oh, okay. Some
Some
of us do read for ourselves.
do.
Some of us do have an intimate relationship with God for ourselves,
Yes.
but so we don't like being lumped into that one category. We don't want to be lumped in with the Westboro Baptist, right? They're Christian.
Well,
So
not go there, Charlie, but
I'm
yes,
just
you're right.
so don't lump all therapists into one category. I just literally had the conversation with this guy. All y'all, I was like, I'm not gonna argue with you, bro. Like I'm not. That's where you're at right now. You were hurt, and it's unfortunate that you've had that experience. You still need help, and I'm gonna recommend that you see somebody and just try it again. But I'm not getting ready to go back and forth with you about how all therapists are this and all therapists are that. So
Yeah.
don't lump us all into one category. You know you need the help because you went to begin with. So test the waters out, try it again. Even if you have 2 or 3 sessions with a therapist and you get down and you're like, yeah, that ain't it. That's perfectly okay. It's okay to fire your therapist. We're gonna be okay.
Okay.
We are gonna be okay. I've had to fire clients.
Oh,
Yeah, we fire clients. It's like, yes, we do, because I'm one of those yes, I'm one of those therapists that like to do work.
mm,
And if we get to a certain point and you are still not doing the work, then I'm gonna refer you out. That's why I'll fire you. That's what I call firing. I'm not just gonna kick you out. I'm like, don't you ain't coming to see me? No.
right.
I'm like, look, maybe we're not a good fit. Maybe, there's something about our personalities that aren't meshing, that you're not respecting, some of the things that I'm asking you to implement, or you're not doing the work. So let me refer you to somebody who might be a better fit for you. That's what I mean by firing. Like,
That was very nice.
yeah,
I don't want to be
I
fired.
will fire you.
Don't
Um,
fire me. I want to
and
do.
it's not like you're fired. No, you're fired. It's not that. It's just let me find a better fit for you. I'm not just gonna kick you out and leave you out there hanging to dry because at this point, this many sessions in, I kind of know what you need. I'm watching. I watch every single thing. I watch your breathing, especially doing EMDR. I'm watching your body language. I know your habits. I know that you laugh when you get nervous. You laugh when we talk about something serious, or your legs start shaking when we talk about it. Like I'm one of those people that I'm very observant.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna know these type of things. So at this point in, it's this far in, I'm gonna be like, okay, they don't really trust me, or they're not going to trust me. So let me refer them to somebody else. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I want everybody to get help, whoever it is. It don't have to be me.
man. Like, you're an expert, a professional, like, and you genuinely care. So I know they've been waiting. I know the people was waiting. Talk to us about Destiny's Door. I just share your thought, y'all, the purpose. Like, I think people just need to hear that and know that, Charlie is in the Phoenix area. And I'm gonna show your page because I just want to show your page. But no, we get it. But please tell us more about Destiny's Door.
Destiny's Door, when I first started, I was trying to come up with a name, and it was like Journey to Wholeness, Journey to Healing, and all this. I was like, I cannot. Everything I want is taken. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, "Well, why don't you name it Destiny's Door? Because you're always talking about people's purpose. You're always talking about, wanting to help people rediscover who they are." And I was like, ugh. And I looked it up, and it was open. I was like, "Yes, mom." Shout out to my mom. I love her. Um,
Oh, mama.
Hey, mama. Um, but and that name just stuck because that is one of my goals is to really just help people rediscover because a lot of times we forget as we become adults, we start adulting and
Yeah.
we forget that we're actually here for a reason. We have a purpose. Oh, Pastor Moore, gotta shout out Pastor Moore because that quote came from him. I was like, oh, I'm using that because
Yeah.
I can't. It was like 3 years ago that he said that, but I even told him, I said, I'm going to use that on my page because that is pretty much saying everything that I want to say in one quote.
Yeah.
So um, I just love helping people discover or rediscover because, again, as we become adults, we forget because we get so busy with life.
Hmm.
Life happens, tragedy happens, all these different events happen. And we just go day to day, just trying to survive, just trying to live. And that's a lot of times when we get into the survival mode and just trying to live mode that we get depressed because there's something more there, but we just don't know what it is or
Yeah.
we don't realize that it's missing because we're so busy paying bills and just, surviving. So the true definition of poverty is not the absence of money, but so I'm like,
I got it back. I got it back.
but but the absence of purpose. So helping people find their purpose. I found mine. And how I found it was, again, I talked a little earlier about just always being that person that people went to, but not knowing that it was a thing, not knowing that how do I turn that into something. And I was working with I was a 911 operator for 14 years. Hey, 911 peeps. Um, and a dispatcher for Phoenix Police for 14 years.
Wow.
And while the job is exciting, it was not what I was meant to do. I could still be there as job security. Like people gonna call 911. Like y'all,
These are facts.
a crisis is going to happen. You know, um, and I got the nickname while I was there. It's okay, it's bad, but it was a 918 whisperer, and the code for 918 means an insane person. So it was, yeah,
Okay, that's fine. Yep. Carry
that
on.
was my nickname because I was able to talk people down from suicide. Like
Wow.
I was just for some reason I would get those calls, and I would be able to talk them down. So there was like the 918 whisperer. That was my nickname. So I was doing well there. I could have stayed there, but it was not what I was supposed to do. You had a job for 14 years. Who quits after 14 years and starts?
Listen, I got a whole story about that, but it's not about me. It's about
Well,
Mental Health Awareness Month.
yeah, after 14 years, I finally went to school, got my degree, and I was like, all right, here we go. I took a huge pay cut, huge. Whew. And like, yeah, it was big. I was like, okay, Jesus, 'cause and me not, being in the place where I should have been. I didn't downsize my lifestyle. So yeah,
Listen,
went through my little
that's a whole.
savings real quick.
You know what, Charlie? That's a whole nother segment. We ain't gonna do this today. No, because you're right. That's a
But
transition.
yeah,
That'll be a whole transition segment.
yeah, the whole different. Okay, so let me get so Destiny's Door,
Mhm.
September 2017. I knew going into it that a lot of people name their practices after themselves. I didn't want to do that because I knew my goal was to mentor other therapists as well, and I wanted other therapists at my practice. I didn't want to always be a solo practice, so that's why I gave it another name other than just naming it after me. And I have two, and I call him half therapist because he's part time that work there. One works specifically with the littles. I love her, Danielle, 13 and under. She works with that age group. Can't do it. God bless her. Um, and then my other therapist, Adam, he works with a lot of other um, more serious. He does, borderline and stuff like that. He works with a specific method with sound. So it's EMDR based, but he adds sound to it, which is
Ooh.
amazing. Okay. I'm always referring, I'm like, you need to go see Adam. Um, So his technique is really good too. I'm sorry, what was your question? Because
No,
I get to
you
going.
answered. You talked to me about Destiny. So that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Okay.
So just let you guys know, if you want to reach out, there's multiple ways. You can call 480-788-0877. Email them, customer support at destiny'sdoorcounseling.com. Even go to destiny'sdoorcounseling.com for all of this as well. Gives you the address, and the hours. And so, yeah, I'm so excited because if I'm being, I don't be tooting folks' horn just to be doing that. Like that's just not me, Sharli. But you are like a breath of fresh air. To
Thank
hear
you.
a therapist that, hey, I want to help you move within your purpose and get, let's change this dynamic. Who are you? Like and why
Hmm.
do you do the things, and how do we get you to where you need to be? So I think that that's absolutely amazing. Y'all, I'm probably gonna end up calling her too. So we'll make sure that we put her information, the practice information, out on the, well, I'm not gonna tell you about that yet, but we're gonna make sure we have it on the Facebook page, our Instagram handle, all of that. We'll make sure that we'll get it out to you. And it's just been, thank you for taking the time out, because mental health is so important.
Yes.
And I just kind of want to leave it with you. Like, what, if there's anything that you were to leave us today with, what would you want to share about mental health awareness, and how we can just, again, it sounds cliche, but maintain awareness and be in the present, whether we're the client or we're the support system.
I would say don't don't negate the little things. So if it crosses your mind that, hey, I can't do this by myself, then you probably can't. So get some help. Again, like I said, it doesn't have to be me. If you like Charlie is too harsh for me, she's too cold blooded. Like I can't handle her calling me petty. That's perfectly okay. I am perfectly okay with that. This is 100% my personality, so I'm gonna always be me. But I will help you find. I have like 3 messages in my Facebook Messenger right now, and I'm going back and forth with them, referring them and getting them help. First because they don't fit into my schedule, or they don't fit into the niche that I work with, and I'm like, okay, let me get back to you. So if you message me and say, hey, can you help me find a therapist? I will do my best to help you find a therapist. It does not have to be me. I'm passionate about people getting help. And again, as a Christian, as a therapist, I pray 100%. I do. But just like you go to a physical doctor, if your throat's hurting, if you have an earache, if you you pray about it and then you go to the doctor,
Yeah,
right? Pray about which therapist to go to, right?
fair.
If you're having problems like I don't know which one to pick, you can pray about that too. Jesus and therapy, Jesus plus therapy.
That's a whole T-shirt. Jesus plus therapy. Yes, Lord. No, I love it. I love it. So, y'all, again, destiny'sdoorcounseling.com. Go get, like, I'll be in, again, transparent moment. I'm really done, I promise. Transparent moment. I have always been on and off of counseling because I've never found the right one. And just speaking with you, it's like there's so many things for me to look at, but it's one, what I'm hearing, it's okay. You hear, I can't do this by myself. One, go ahead and get the help. Like,
Hmm.
do it. Two, you don't have to stay satisfied with someone that maybe not be able to meet your need or even the approach. And
Right,
then three, like, you have the ability to, well, three, you can change your mind, but hey, be willing to do the work, and you'll, a good therapist is going to walk you through that. A good therapist is going to recommend you if they're not able to do it. So
right.
just, I know people aren't clapping. I'm clapping and raising my hand. Shout out to licensed professional counselor, therapist, all of the above. No Chaser, Sharli Berry, and Destiny's Door Counseling. And go to destinysdoorcounseling.com. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad. I'm want the word out there.
Yeah,
Get
it's
get some
necessary.
help. Call us. We out here.
Yes. All right. Thank you.